Om Namo Bhagavate to the personality of Godhead, Narayan, and to Narayan, Rishi, the Supreme Personality, and to Mother Saraswati, the Goddess of Learning, and to Sri Vyas Dev, the Author. Nashtapraya
सेवया भगवते नमस्तोके भक्तिर्भवति नष्टिकी.
by regular attendance in classes on Bhagavatam and by regular service to the pure devotee, all that is troubles to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead,
Whose praise we chant into songs,
established as an irrevocable fact. Om Ajnanatirandasya Jnanajnanashalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Was born in the darkness of ignorance and my spiritual
thought light of knowledge. Ha 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 ha. Hari Bol.
Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sadhikam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Dadati Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalitam Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Radha Gopinath ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So, Hare Krishna devotees, today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:10:25. So, do we want to read some verses first, Prabhu? Translations?
What are we reading?
So, today we are doing a deep dive on verse number 25. Let me just pull up the. Okay, we're doing 24 to 43, reading the translations. 24.
The Supreme Personality of God, Sri Krishna, to fulfill the truthfulness of the words of the greatest devotee, Narada, slowly went to that spot where the twin Arjuna trees were standing. The men.
Although these two young men are the sons of the very rich Kuvera, I have nothing to do with them. Devar Sri Narad is my very dear and affectionate devotee, and therefore because he wanted me to come face to face with them, I must do so for their deliverance.
Having thus spoken, Krishna soon entered between the two Arjuna trees, and thus the big motor to which he was bound turned crosswise, and stuck between them.
By dragging behind him with great force the wooden motor tied to his belly, the boy Krishna uprooted the two trees. By the great strength of the Supreme Person, the two trees, with their trunks, leaves, and branches, trembled severely, and fell to the ground with a great crash.
Thereafter, in that very place where the true Arjuna trees had fallen, two great, perfect personalities who appeared like fire personified came out of the two trees. The effulgence of their beauty illuminating all directions. With bowed heads, they offered obeisances to Krishna, and with hands folded, they spoke the following words.
O Lord Krishna, your opulent mysticism is inconceivable. You are the supreme original person, the cause of all causes, immediate and remote, and you are beyond this material creation. Learned Brahmanas know, on the basis of the Vedic statement, Sarvam Kal Idam Brahma, that you are everything, and that this cosmic manifestation, in its gross and subtle aspects, is your form.
You are the Supreme Personality of God, controller of everything. The body, life, ego, senses of every living entity are your own self. You are the Supreme Person, Vishnu, the imperishable controller. You are time factor, the immediate cause, and you are material nature, consisting of three modes: passion, goodness, and ignorance. You are the original cause of this material manifestation. You are the super soul, therefore you know everything within the core of heart of every living entity.
O God, you exist before the creation. Therefore, who trapped by a body of material quantities in this material world can understand it?
O Lord, whose glories are covered by your own energy, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You are Sankarshana, the origin of creation, and you are Vasudev, the origin of Chaturvya. Because you are everything and are therefore the Supreme Brahman, we simply offer our respectful obeisances and prayers.
Appearing in bodies like those of an ordinary fish, tortoise, and hog, you exhibit activities impossible for such creatures to perform, extraordinary, incomparable, transcendental activities of unlimited power and strength. These bodies of yours therefore are not made of material elements, but are incarnations of your Supreme Personality. You are the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, who have now appeared with full potency for the benefit of all living entities within this material world.
Our supremely auspicious, we offer you respectful obeisance. We talk you who you are the supreme God, almost famous dissident and controller of the Yadu dynasty. Awesome Vasudeva, almost respectful, let us offer our obeisance unto your lotus.
O Supreme Form, we are always servants of your servants, especially of Narad Muni. Now give us permission to leave for our home. It is by the grace and mercy of Narad Muni that we have been able to see you face to face.
Text 38. Henceforward, may all our words describe your pastimes, may our ears engage in oral perception of your glories, may our hands, legs, and other senses engage in actions pleasing to you, and may our minds always think gloriously. May our hands offer our obeisances to everything within this world. Thus, all things are also your different forms, and may our eyes see forms of Vaishnavas who are not different from you.
Sukdev Goswami continued. The two young demigods thus offer praise to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although Sri Krishna, the Supreme Godhead, is the master of all and was certainly Gopaleshwara, the master of Gopala, he was bound to the wooden mortar by the ropes of the gopis, and therefore smiling widely, he spoke to the sons of Kuvera the following words.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the great Saint Narada Muni is very merciful by his curse. He showed the greatest favor to both of you, who were mad after material opulence, and who had thus become blind. Although you fell from higher planet, Swargaloka, and became trees, you were most favored by him. I knew of all these entities from the very beginning.
When one is face to face with the sun, there is no longer darkness for one's eyes. Similarly, when one is face to face with a sadhu, a devotee, who is fully determined and surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one will no longer be subject to material bondage.
O Talakuvera and Manigriva, now you may both return home. Since your desire to be always absorbed in my devotional service, your desire to develop love and affection for me will be fulfilled. And now you will never fall from that platform.
What do you want to do the last one? 43.
Sukadeva Goswami said, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, having spoken to the two demigods in this way, who circumambulated the Lord who was bound to the wooden mortar, and offered obeisances to him. After taking the permission of Lord Krishna, they returned to their respective homes.
Jaya. Now, let's get into verse number 25. देवर्षिर्मे प्रियतमो
देवर्षिर्मे प्रियतमो
यत् इमौ दननात्मजौ
यत्किमो धनात्मजो
तत्तथा साधयिष्यामि
तत्तथा साधयिष्यामि
यद्गीतं तन्महामना.
यद्गीतं तन्महात्मना.
In the interest of time, what we can do is collectively, we can say all the lines 3 times. Is that all right? Let's start. Devarshi me priyatamo
यत्किमो धनात्मजो
tattata sadhayashyami yadgitam tanmahatmana. Devarshi me priyatamo yadgimau dhananatmajo tattata sadhayashyami yadgitam tanmahatmana. Devarshi me priyatamo yadgimau dhananatmajo tattata sadhayashyami yadgitam tanmahatmana. Jai. Does anyone feel the urge to say any line by themselves? We can do that. Anyone wants to say? Okay.
Devarshi Priyatamo.
Devarshi me priyatamo yad imau dhananatmajo
तथा साधयिष्यामि
tattata sadhayashyami yadgitam tanmahatmana. Jai. Let's do the synonyms together. Devarshi, the great saint Devarshi Narada, my Priyatama, most beloved devotee. Yet, although, Imau, these 2 persons, Nala Kuver and Mani Grieve, Dhananatmajao, born of a rich father and being non-devotees. Tat, the words of Devarshi. Tatha, thus, Shami, I shall execute. Because he wanted me to come face to face with Yamala Arjuna, I shall do so. Yat Geetam, as already stated. Tat, that. Mahatmana, by Narada Muni. Translation. Although these 2 young men are the sons of very rich Kuber and have nothing to do with them, Devarshi Narada is my very dear and affectionate devotee, and therefore, because he wanted me to come face to face with them, I must do so for their deliverance. For purport, we will go by birth months. So December is coming. Anyone from December? Yes, bro.
Nalakuvera and Mani actually had nothing to do with devotional service or seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. For this is not an ordinary opportunity. It is not that because one is very rich or learned or was born in an aristocratic family, one will be able to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. This is impossible.
Thank you, Prabhu. Anyone Jan born?
Yeah. This is impossible, but in this case, because Narada Muni desired that Nalkuvir and Mani see Vasudeva face to face, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, wanted to fulfill the words of his very dear devotee, Narada Muni. If one seeks the favor of a devotee instead of directly asking favors from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one is very easily successful.
Thank you, Prabhu. Anyone November born? October?
Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has therefore recommended Vaishnava Thakur
Tukura, Guliya Jana Krishna se tomar, Krishna dite.
One should desire to become like a dog in strictly following a devotee. Krishna is in the hand of a devotee. Adurlabham Atama Bhakta.
Thank you, Prabhu. You wanted to read?
Thus, without the favor of a devotee, one cannot directly approach Krishna. What to speak of engaging in his service? Narodama Das Thakur therefore sings,
Ya Vaishnava Seva Nishtara Paye Chekeva.
unless one becomes servant of a pure devotee, one cannot be delivered from the material condition of life.
Thank you. Last line, let's read together. In our Gaudiya
Vaishnava society, following in the footsteps of Rupa Goswami, our first business is to seek shelter of a bona fide spiritual master.
Ado Guru. Jai, we did it together. Thank you so much for joining this class. So we're at 7:55. For the next 20 minutes, we'll just have a discussion and then open to question and answers. Does that work for you, Prabhu?
Yes.
Thank you. Who can we switch over to the presentation? All right, so we have some visuals here. So today's verse is mercy in difficulty. Ever thought that you're in a situation where, you asked for a blessing and you thought that you got that blessing, and just before you're about to enjoy or you started enjoying, you're like, oh my God, what just happened? Why am I in this situation? Ever happened to you?
2 hands up.
Well, I'm sure that's the case with most of us. And today's verse is going to talk to that point. And how do we need to take that? How do we need to process that? We will understand this from today's verse. Prabhu, could we go to the next slide? So, Krishna's mercy can come in different shapes and forms, right? Krishna is inconceivable, and so is his mercy. We don't know anything seemingly like a curse can actually be a blessing in disguise. Have you heard of the term blessing in disguise? Today's verse is all about that. So all these terms and all these proverbs and all these things have some root source, and probably these are from these Vedic stories like these, right? This is an example. This is blessing in disguise personified, right? The next slide, please. So to those, most of us have been here for all of the Bhagavatam classes, but for those newcomers that were not around, like myself, this is what is happening in this chapter. Anyone wants to quickly weave these points together and tell me the story of what's going on right here? Anyone?
Anyone? Sorry, okay, I'll go. So, Melkuveda and Manigdev, they are sons of Kuveda. First one discovered. And one day they were intoxicated by wealth, pride, and obviously by Varuni. This is a specific type of alcohol type of drink which can find.
Right.
It's not alcohol, but it's
Intoxicating
intoxicating drink. Find in higher planets. So Narad Muni came, who is their spiritual master, and they never really cared for it. They never paid obeisances, never did anything. So in one sense, that is disrespecting the spiritual master. So
And what else was the biggest disrespect? That they were not in the etiquette that they were supposed to be, right? And then what happened?
So Narad Muni cursed them and asked them to become Yamalarjuna trees. And then when Krishna will came, then they will get, like Krishna will liberate them by themselves. So that is the thing. And now we bet that Krishna heard Narad Muni and he went to those Yamala trees.
Great, thank you so much, Prabhu. Second last point here is very important, right? Curse to become Arjun trees. Now, this is very important, Jay. This is very important point because whatever we've been doing all our life, whatever is there in our consciousness, we kind of get the next body according to that, both gross and subtle body. So we have to be very careful. Because these two intoxicated sons of Kuvera were being, let's just say, they were doing things that they were not supposed to do. Narad Muni cursed them that, okay, you want to be without clothes, well, become trees. Why? Because trees cannot wear clothes and they stand for hundreds of years without any clothes on. So that was the curse that was given to them. Srila Prabhupada, I think once he was on the Hawaii beach and then he saw that a guy was, surfing around. And he was doing that for a few hours. Prabhupada completed his morning walk and he was going back. And he said he's still here. If he enjoys water so much, probably he will become a fish next life. So this point is very important. Whatever we enjoy doing, probably we are shaping our next bird's body and mind accordingly. Are the slides moving? Did they move? Oh yeah. So we have all heard that we need to become Taror eva sahishnunam, tolerant like trees. So that's the abbreviation which covers today's class, TREE. Tough love from Krishna. Like I said before, love and mercy can come in different shapes and forms. Ever received a bashing from your parent and they said, well, we love you, we can do this. Right? Because they love us. They feel that it's their way of expressing love. So that's the tough love from Krishna. R is removal of pride. And if you look at these themes carefully, they are sort of chronological, they are sequential. So there is tough love from Krishna, which helps in the removal of pride. And then at the same time, there's enlightenment through sadhu sangha, enlightenment through association. And lastly, our goal is to get back to Godhead and get back to bhakti, because bhakti is our constitutional position. That's where we're supposed to be. So with all these things, we are elevated back to bhakti. Wherever we left, that point we're going back. So tough love,
What was the last point again?
elevation back to bhakti. Tough love. Mercy, blessings can come in different shapes, sizes, and forms, right? Because correction is compassion. Krishna deeply cares about us. He wants us to improve. He wants us to not be satisfied in this made up sense gratification. So he shows us different avenues, he shows us different indications, and he gives us different experiences because he's compassionate. And so are our gurus. Sometimes we might get chastised by our gurus, and that is actually compassion. We are lucky if we get chastised by our gurus, because that's their compassion, that's their love flowing for us. And that is happening because they want us to correct our behavior and correct, and in Canada, I got to know recently that the prison houses, they are known as correctional facilities. That's a very nice way to put it. We're not sort of alienating them, saying that these are bad people. We're just saying they need a chance to get corrected. They need a chance to mend their behavior. So Krishna sometimes puts us in those correctional facilities. That is a part of his tough love. And purification happens through challenges. Sometimes we get this question that, oh, he was such a nice devotee, why did he have to go through this? Because he's just being purified. Remember, gold has to be purified again and again to reach that 24 karat mark, which is like the utmost purity of gold. So it has to go through so much of heat, it has to go through so much of pain, but it's getting pure. The impurities, the contamination is getting removed. So this is why whenever we are put in a tough situation by Krishna, that is our opportunity to think more deeply about him. And that is how the impurities in our heart are being removed, and we are becoming purified. Because even if there is 1% of contamination in our hearts, there is no way we are going back to Godhead. Prabhupada used to say that even you've been a nice devotee all your life, but even in the end there is attachment for that one rasagulla. For that one rasagulla you have to take birth again. Like Bharat Maharaj, whole life, so many austerities. In the end, he was not even being selfish. He had compassion for a deer, but that was attachment. And then he had to take the birth again. So these are sort of reminders to not do that, to not get too attached to anything. In Madhya Leela 20.124, there's a very beautiful point. Sometimes Krishna might look like he's taking something or everything away from us, but that is just because he wants to give us himself. And if he wants to give us himself and his love, we cannot be preloaded with all the baggages from the past. We need to let loose, let go of those. Bhagavad Gita 5.29 says, Sarudam Sarva Bhutana. Krishna is our dearmost well-wisher. He's the best friend. Amalarinam Prabhu uses that word quite often. Saurada. Best friend. Heart-to-heart connection is there. And that is why if somebody is really your well-wisher, they will not be okay if we are doing any nonsense which is putting us in danger. They will not be okay with that. So even if you like them or don't like them, they are going to voice it out. They are going to chastise you. They are going to punish. And Prabhupada says in one of his Bhagavatam lectures that Krishna sometimes puts his devotees in difficulty so that they can come closer to him. Removal of pride. Pride, envy, things like these, they are basically like a blindfold. Between us and Krishna, these are like barricades. And if there are barricades, it's very difficult to get back to Godhead or get to Krishna or start loving Krishna for that matter. So Krishna is so compassionate that he removes those blindfolds, he removes those barricades to show us the reality. Sometimes we get a scolding from our parents and we don't like that because those words are very harsh. But sometimes it's required, it's a reality check. And Krishna gives us that reality check. Why? Because like we discussed, Sarudam Sarvabhutana. He deeply cares about us. He's not here to give us that fake boost and, he's not one of those. He cares about us, he loves us, and he wants us to go back to him. So he removes these blindfolds. And in Bhagavad Gita 2.44, it is written that any kind of attachment to wealth, it kind of clouds or blurs the spiritual intelligence, as it happened with the sons of Kuvera. They were supremely rich, they were supremely handsome, and with all that, they decided to get into sense gratification. Why? Because so much of wealth and so much of attachment to these senses, it kind of put a barricade in terms of their spiritual intelligence. They could not see clearly what is the reality. And in Bhagavad Gita 2.49, sorry, Krishna does say that those who are just worried about their own sense gratification, they are misers. They are very miserly. If you are not able to engage your resources for Krishna, you are being a miser. And there is a very severe punishment for misery or being miserly in the material laws of nature. So if you are not willing to let go of certain things, they will be ultimately taken away from you. So it's better to be proactive, it's better to be prepared for that. Right? And in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 6.85, there is a very strong statement. Pride is like the noose around a conditioned soul's neck. It's like the soul is hanging to a thread. That thread around that rope, that is pride. And what did Narad Muni do here? He came and he tried to cut that rope open. That's what he did. He tried to remove that pride. He tried to remove that blinding so that the spiritual intelligence can be uncluttered or it can be made clear.
What's the verse number again?
It's written right here. 6.85.
No, you were mentioning CC.
6.85.
Okay.
In Bhagavad Gita 7.15, the essence is that if we are deluded by the material attachments and sense gratification, we won't surrender. And why? It's because of pride, mainly. So this pride needs to be removed, and Krishna either does it himself or he sends his devotees to do that. And that devotee is mostly in form of gurus or other sadhus that come and help us come back to our senses. Sometimes if we are behaving irrationally, we need somebody to come and bring us back to our senses, right? And wealth and beauty kind of hid Manigrives and Nalakuver's need and love for Krishna. And this so-called curse of Narad Muni restored their intelligence. Enlightenment through Sadhu Sangha. Narad Muni was concerned because they were not being humble. They were just being attached to their senses. So he had to come, he had to shake them and restore them back to their humility. Make them humble again. And if the word restore comes, it means that's kind of the constitutional position. That's where they were at. That's where all the souls originally are. But with the material conditioning and all the anarthas, we might get a bit muddy. So after all this cleaning happens, we get restored to that position. And he wanted to save them from the greatest dangers of sense gratification. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 22.54, it is written, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastre Koy, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. Can anyone translate what that means? It's right here.
Just by the association with a pure devotee, everything you get, like sarva siddhi,
Right.
you get all
Becomes
this-
perfect.
You become perfect.
And association, even one moment. Like Narad Muni was not around them forever. Okay, your trees, I will come and guard you. No. He cursed, he went. But then that one moment or 1/12 of a moment, lava is 1/12 of a second. So that much association of a pure devotee, even the shadow of a pure devotee can purify us. What to speak of, associating with them and serving them regularly. In 4.34 Bhagavad Gita, it is written, Tad vidhi pranipatena prashnena seva. Approach a spiritual master with the service attitude, with humility. And then that spiritual master, that self-realized soul will impart knowledge, which will remove all those barricades, which will remove that ignorance, which will remove the pride and ego. Devotee association awakens dormant bhakti. Bhakti is there in all of us, it's just hidden, it needs to be awakened. So when I read this somewhere that when Jai Pataka Maharaj was not a devotee, and probably he was not a devotee till 17 or 18 because in his teens he became a devotee. He was just walking around on a street in the US and then he saw some devotees and then something happened to him. Like, there was like some trigger that he got. Something got reactivated, re-energized within his heart. And his name was Gordon John. And then Prabhupada once said, I think he's Gaur Dhanjan, like, he's one of the associates of Mahaprabhu. And just by seeing the devotees doing Sankirtana, that love re-emerged in his heart, right? Even our Maharaj right here, he was a student here in Toronto, but he met some devotees, his love for Krishna got activated, he started spending time with the devotees, and then... But, okay, I thought that was written in the website, sorry about that. But you did meet the devotees, right? Here, that's how.
Great.
So one important thing here is sometimes we try to bypass and go directly to Krishna. That is very dangerous. You know why this is dangerous? Any guesses? We can make offenses, right? And that's why even like sometimes it is said that even when you go to a dham, be very careful. Like don't be there in a vacation mode. Don't go there for too long, and because that kind of increases the dangers of committing offenses. So if we try to approach anyone directly, any big person directly, it's very dangerous because we don't know them perfectly, right? We can commit so many offenses. And more about the offenses, it's like we will never be able to understand their love for us because of so many barricades in between of ego, pride, envy, and whatnot. So if we go through the devotees, if we go through sadhu sangha and association, the devotees are so pure, the devotees are so loving that they minimize your offenses in front of Krishna. That's why by the time it reaches Krishna, it's this much. And they step in between and say, no, I know this is a good person. I want him to improve. So can you, and Krishna trusts the pure devotee. So he lets them, like Narad Muni did here. But even if there is small good quality, and if it goes through the parampara, it goes through the sadhu, it just becomes magnified by the time it reaches Krishna. So very important. Sadhu Sangha, if you remove that, it's very dangerous. It's like a 3-point GPS system in life, right? Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. All these three are very important. You cannot bypass either of these. You cannot remove any of these. Then it will be a wobbly thing. Imagine an auto rickshaw and one wheel is removed. How will it go? Right? It won't go. Or even if it goes, it will be like, I don't know the English word for that. It's called khatara. It means like, we cannot do that. We have to be very careful. We're almost approaching the end of this presentation. Elevation to Bhakti. In Bhagavad Gita 2.40, it is written that even any minute endeavor can minute endeavor can save the devotee from the biggest dangers and fears of life. Krishna says that himself, that in the path of bhakti, even a minute endeavor, even 1%, that trial, that effort will save you, will guard you from biggest dangers. That is very important. And in Bhagavad Gita 9.31, it is written very quickly. Sorry about those 2 commas there. I was typing this at 12 midnight, so sorry. The fallen soul becomes saintly. The only qualification for that is sincerity. If there is sincerity, and even if somehow the soul tries to fall down, very quickly with the association of devotees, he is restored back to bhakti and he will become saintly again. That position will be restored. In Bhagavad Gita 18.58, it's all about how we can remove those barriers, how we can cross those obstacles with the mercy of devotees, the mercy of Krishna. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 22.31, the devotional service truly begins when one starts understanding that Krishna is here to protect. He is the supreme protector. Right? There are 2 things very important in bhakti: faith and surrender. Without that, we are going nowhere. How much ever shastras we read, how much ever, in and out we go into the philosophy. If we don't have faith, then what is the point of all that? We will just do it all on a mental level. It will be like mental speculation. We don't want to become gyanis, right? And at the same time, we also don't want to be sahajiyas and ignore the philosophy. That's why that balance is important. Krishna values the heart. Any guesses, any shlokas that come to your mind where it's written that Krishna looks at your sincerity and not really the output? Right? What does that verse say?
Whatever you offer, a leaf, flower.
Patram pushpam phalam. even a leaf, fruit, flower, do it with your heart. In Duryodhana's palace, Krishna was served like Chappan Bhoga or something even more grand than that. But there was that love was missing, and love is the main ingredient. That makes the prasadam taste the way it is. But he went to Vidura after that. Krishna did not eat there because Krishna does not need anything. He's the provider. What will he need? He accepts just so we feel better. But then he went to Vidura and his wife lovingly offered him banana peels and he had that because there was that sincerity in the heart. So there's this elevation to bhakti. Little sincerity goes a long way. And in conclusion, Krishna has a customized learning plan for all of us. That comes in form of different assignments, and those assignments are different challenges. The challenge that one devotee is going through, probably the other one cannot understand. But in the heart, that mercy is there, that compassion is there, because everyone knows that this is a purification process. So every time you feel stuck in bhakti or otherwise, feel that it is just an assignment from Krishna to make you stronger. And the level of challenges increase. As you go from grade 1 to grade 12, you won't have the same kind of challenges. You won't have 1 plus 1 equals 2. The math gets complicated, the challenges get complicated. But that faith is what will help you surpass